Hi, today I want to talk about a subject that's not very fun, but in my opinion absolutely essential: mercury poisoning. My name is Catherine Kyle from greenthickies.com, and today I want to share what I've been learning about mercury poisoning from my own perspective and from things that I've been reading and learning. If you've been following me for a while, you may know that I have had some teeth issues. Mainly, I've had severe infections in my implants at the front there, and I've been reading a lot about how to protect yourself from getting any further infections, from teeth problems, and this has led me down a path of reading about mercury poisoning. Now, this is not something I ever really knew about before, and most people that I speak to have absolutely no idea what mercury poisoning is or why they might actually be affected by this themselves. So I wanted to make a video in hope that it will help you as much as it hopefully is going to help me, and let you know what I'm planning to do in the future about mercury poisoning. So, what is mercury poisoning? Now, mercury poisoning is when you have ingested or inhaled some mercury, and mercury is actually one of the most toxic substances on the planet. It is very, very harmful for us. It causes all kinds of health problems. And how do we get mercury poisoning in the first place? How does this actually apply to you? Now, some things you might know about and some things you might not know if you've got mercury poisoning, but these are some of the ways in which you can get mercury poisoning. So, what is mercury? Where do we get mercury poisoning from? Now, there is certain ways we can get it, like we can get it from eating a lot of fish. Most fish are contaminated with a high amount of mercury now, because unfortunately mercury is in the seas and it poisons all fish. So unless you're very careful about where you get your fish from, it is likely that you are being slowly poisoned by the mercury that you're eating from the fish. You can also get mercury poisoning from broken thermometers, like the old-fashioned thermometers that used to have the mercury in them. This might have happened when you were a child, and it still might be affecting you now. It might happen from a broken light bulb. There are lots of light bulbs now, especially the eco ones that have mercury in them, so you've got to be really careful because mercury is in such a lot of products. So if a light bulb that contains mercury smashes and you have been clearing it up, it's likely that you've been heavily poisoned by mercury. Another way that you can get a high dose of mercury in your system is actually from your mother. So if your mother had a high amount of mercury in her body, then that will probably have been transferred to you just from being a baby, and also it gets transferred in the breast milk as well. So if you're breastfed and your mother had high amounts of mercury, then unfortunately you can get it as a baby and you might not even know about this. And the most common way in which most people have mercury poisoning these days is from silver fillings. Silver fillings. Now this is why I got to learn about mercury poisoning in the first place, because I actually have silver fillings in my mouth. I've got about 5 left. I used to maybe have about, say, 10 to 12. I used to have a lot on the bottom part, at the bottom of my mouth, on my teeth, but I had so many problems. They would start off with a mercury filling, then I would get an infection, then I would get a root treatment and that would get infected, or I would get a crown and that would get infected, and then the tooth would be removed. So I have all of the teeth, all of the molars on that side of my mouth are completely gone. They used to all contain mercury, and on this side they keep falling out. I think I grind my teeth in my sleep, and thankfully I'm just getting a mouth guard made up so I can stop doing that, because this is a big problem if you've got mercury fillings and you grind your teeth when you're sleeping. That grinds the mercury fillings and makes them much more likely to fall out, or little bits get chipped off, and then when that happens, a massive amount of mercury gets flooded into your body. So that's how you can get a big overdose on mercury poisoning if you have little tiny bits of your mercury fillings chipped off. So yes, so that's happened to me loads of times, and every time that's happened, I've had them replaced with white fillings. So thankfully I've got all white on the bottom there, but I do still have all my mercury fillings on the top, so I still have quite a lot of mercury in my mouth. And the problem is, every time you get the little tiny bits of mercury fillings chipped off, that can cause you severe health problems. There's been so many times in my life where I've had severe health problems and I have not known the cause, and it just seems to come out of the blue. And that actually happened at Christmas. I did have my very last mercury filling. A massive bit fell off when I was eating. Now I know enough to go and, like, that if that happens to you, go and spit it out in the bin immediately. Wash your mouth out, spit that out into the bin. But unfortunately, that's still a big high dose, and it's probably enough for it to go into the atmosphere, and the mercury vapors go into the atmosphere for everyone else to breathe in as well. So it is quite very harmful for you if little bits break off your mercury fillings. And they're not called mercury fillings, they're called amalgam fillings or silver fillings. And most likely you went to the dentist and you needed a filling, and the dentist said, do you want the free or the cheap silver fillings, or do you want, maybe they didn't offer you that choice, or do you want the white fillings that you have to pay a lot more for? And some people don't get offered that choice, especially with the National Health Service in this country. I don't remember ever getting offered the choice. I just remember them saying, here's the fillings, no charge to you. Here's a mouthful of poison. But they don't tell you anything about them. They don't tell you that there's mercury in them. You just say silver fillings or amalgam fillings. And the reason why they're called amalgam fillings is because they are an amalgam of different metals. So I think there's about 50% mercury in them, and then the rest of the metals are made up from different types of metal, like tin and aluminium, and I think there's a bit of copper. I can't remember the other ones, but maybe a bit of silver, I can't quite remember. But this is also a problem when you have lots of different types of metal in your mouth. It causes like a battery effect in your mouth, like a really bad electrical charge, and that can cause you lots of health problems as well. And you don't just get mercury poisoning when little bits of your fillings fall off. You actually, despite what dentists might tell you, there has been tests done on this, and they do actually release mercury constantly. So especially when you chew, especially when you drink hot drinks, that releases a constant stream of mercury vapor into your mouth. So it's not sealed at all. It is constantly you're getting mercury into your system if you have amalgam fillings in there. And mercury is liquid at room temperature, but the reason why they put these other metals in is so that it hardens up and it seals. And they're cheap. Reason why dentists use them, they're cheap, they last a long time unless you grind your teeth like me, and that's good if you can't afford it, and that's probably why they started doing it. But now they have all these other alternatives. It used to just be gold or amalgam, but now there's all these other alternatives, which unfortunately in the UK and the US they are still giving out the amalgams free or more cheaply than the white ones. So for most people it still isn't a choice. But if you do have a choice and you ever get offered a silver filling, please try and grab all the spare money you've got and get yourself a white filling, because then you will avoid having this mercury in your system. And when you first get in the mercury fillings put in, that also releases a massive big dose of mercury into your system, and when you get them removed you also get a massive big load of mercury into your system. And I'm going to tell you how in a minute a safe way to get them removed if you want them to get them removed. So let's talk more about mercury poisoning, and if you're worried that you are being poisoned by mercury, how do you verify this? And there are actually 3 ways of verifying. There's urine tests, there's blood tests, and there's hair mineral tests. And supposedly the hair mineral tests are the best way to find out. Although I was reading a book by Andy Cutler, and he was saying that the problem is when you've got amalgam fillings, when you've got mercury in your system, that it can be circulating around your body, and it can attach itself to every organ in your body, but sometimes it stops circulating around your body and it just goes into your brain. So these tests, they only pick up what is circulating around your body at the time, and they don't necessarily pick up the mercury that's in your brain, and that's obviously the most harmful. Mercury, the place where mercury can form is in your brain, so you definitely don't want it in there, but the tests won't pick it up if it's in your brain, and that's the problem. But there is actually ways that you can tell by the hair mineral test if your mercury, if your like markers are all over the place, then it might be that there's mercury in your brain. It's making everything go haywire. So I'm one for kind of, my passion is about getting to the root of the problem, the cause of the problem. I've never been a type of person who likes to just treat symptoms and just cover up problems and thinking, oh, well, I feel good for now. I like to just think, well, I'm always asking why. I'm always questioning everything. But why did that happen? Why? Why me? Why is my body so weak? And I've had a lot of health problems. I've just been diagnosed with various different autoimmune diseases. I've currently got chronic fatigue syndrome. I've had it 3 times. I was kind of sickly as a child. I've had loads of debilitating health problems in my life, and I have questioned why, but it's only now since I've started reading all the time, and I'm really, really learning that the root cause of the problem could be mercury poisoning, and there could be other root causes. It might just be stress, it might just be a poor diet, it might be infections, it might be some kind of parasite, or Lyme disease or something like that in your body. But mercury poisoning is one of the reasons why you might have all these things. So I'm not just going to think, well, okay, I've got hormonal problems, I've got celiac disease, and I've got low thyroid function and all this kind of stuff, and the adrenal fatigue and the chronic fatigue. I'm going to ask, well, why did that happen? And for me, I suspect, it could be a variety of other things, but I think one of the reasons could be the mercury poisoning. And it doesn't affect everybody, it just affects some people, because some people can detox better than others. We all detox naturally, but sometimes our body is so clogged up with, if you've got multiple sources of stresses and toxins coming into your body stops being able to detox effectively, and that's when things really start affecting you, and you can't get things like mercury out of your body easily. And it is quite hard to get it out of your body easily. And I've been reading all these books, and I've read there's this book here, it's called It's All in Your Head by Dr. Hal A. Huggins. Unfortunately, he's passed away now, but he was a holistic dentist, and he's got loads of YouTube videos. If you type his name into YouTube, and you'll find loads of his YouTube videos, and he explains all about teeth health and what's toxic, and how mercury is toxic, and how root treatment is really bad for your teeth and your health generally, and all that kind of stuff. Then you'll find all his resources, and this is a great book as well. And I've also got this other book, this one here by Andy Cutler, and it doesn't look like a proper book, does it? But it's a very, very good resource, and it's called Amalgam Illness, and it says on the front cover, there's a list of all these different health problems. Like, I'll just read some of them out and see if you're suffering from any of these. Do you have, for example, allergies, asthma, autoimmune diseases, Parkinson's disease? I can't pronounce some of these, so I'm just going to skip some of them. Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, schizophrenia, borderline personality disorder, anxiety, panic attacks, ADHD, learning disabilities, depression, OCD, manic depressive disorder, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, multiple chemical sensitivities, environmental illnesses, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, gastritis, IBS, colitis, Crohn's disease, sleep disorders, anorexia, bulimia, yeast syndrome, and it goes on and on and on. And there's so many different symptoms, like, for example, one of them is like deafness. I've been like, have this deafness all my life, like I'm slightly deaf and I can't hear people properly, and I've got a really bad memory and all these things. I'm wondering, but why do I have all these strange things that mean I'm like really fussy with my health and I can't function normally, and I don't feel healthy and all these kind of things? But it could be mercury poisoning. So this book here is a really, really good one. Another great book that I read, and this is one I highly recommend. I can't show you this one because it's on my Kindle, but this one is called The Mercury Diaries. The Mercury Diaries, and that is one of the best books I've ever read. And it's actually really easy to read, and it's like a story, because it's this guy who he used to be, kind of out with the guys and drinking his beer and having a good time partying, and all of a sudden he was just in so much pain and agony, he just couldn't move. He had this awful backache, and he was struggling so badly that he started seeing doctors. Doctors couldn't help him. He started seeing like naturopaths, and then they recommended that he got his silver fillings removed, and I think he had one big one. He got that removed, and he didn't do it safely, and I'll explain that in a minute. And then his health went downhill. It plummeted rapidly downhill after that day, and he was in absolute agony. He had all these health problems, so many health problems, and it's a diary of how he overcame these health problems gradually, step by step. And he realised that he had severe mercury poisoning, and he'd had a lot of exposure to mercury in his life, and he started to get the mercury out of his body, and it's his battle with it. And he also does all kinds of other things to try and be healthy. So if you're starting on the path of learning how to look after yourself, it's such a good book to read, because it's a fun book, and it's like entertainment as well, because you can't wait to find out what he's been up to next, what's happened to him, and it's quite gripping, the book. So I just could not put that book down. It doesn't sound interesting, but it really, really was interesting, because it's a story, and I learned so much. And he actually renewed my passion for health again, because I thought I was feeling really well, and I hadn't been reading many health books, and just reading that book, I thought, I'm really, he knows so much more than me, and it really got me started on my journey to being passionate about health and reading about all this, these health problems again. So that's a great one to read. I thoroughly recommend that to everybody, especially people in the UK, because it's got a lot of UK resources. But saying that, he bought a lot of his supplements from America, so it's good for anybody to read, no matter where you live in the world, because you can, if you can't source things in your country, you can often get them shipped from America. And this book has a lot of great resources and places that he got things from. And this is actually how I found this book. He recommended this book, and this is the protocol that he followed in this book. So let's move on to, how do you treat mercury poisoning? So the very first thing you need to do when you are treating your mercury poisoning is, first of all, get the mercury out of your mouth, and kind of cut down on eating too much fish, or at least find a good source of mercury-free fish, especially cut down on tuna. But yeah, getting the mercury out of your mouth, and this is really important. Don't skip over this. Don't just go to your dentist and say, I want you to take the silver fillings out of your mouth, because this is very dangerous. Like I was saying, if you take, as soon as you remove that mercury, you've subjected your body to massive amounts of mercury vapors, and also little tiny bits of mercury will get swallowed. It will go onto your tongue, you'll swallow it, and it probably will make you very ill. So I would not recommend you do that at all. What I would recommend you do is go and find a holistic dentist, and this is, you can Google it by saying, safe amalgam removal, and then type in your area that you live, or safe mercury filling removal, safe silver filling removal, and find a dentist that has the safe ways to do it, and do a bit of education, a bit of reading before you do this, because you don't just want to just do it straight away, because there's certain things that can help you, and I don't have time to cover everything in this video, but they need to put things in your mouth, like they need to put a rubber dam in your mouth, which is like a little tent, and it stops you swallowing any of the mercury, and they just poke, say if it's that tooth there, they just poke that tooth through the little rubber tent, and the rest of your mouth is completely covered, and then they cover your entire face, your head, your whole body from head to foot is covered in, so none of your body can, get access to the mercury at all. And if you watch some of Dr. Hal Huggins' videos, he says that there's actually even a safe way to remove, like an order of ways that you remove the fillings. Like some of the fillings have a negative charge and some have a positive charge, and you need to remove them in the right order, because then it could make you a little bit ill if you remove them in the wrong order, or could make you quite ill. So that's another thing to mention to the dentist, and you need to make sure that they've got ventilation and that they dispose of it safely, and that I'm sure there was lots of other things that I can't remember. So that's those things. And something else I picked up, I did actually go and see a holistic dentist to try and get my mercury fillings removed myself. And he had a consultation with me, and he said, because I'm suffering from chronic fatigue syndrome at the moment, he said, I'm not well enough. Your body needs to be quite strong because it's still, major surgery. So you need to be in fairly good health. Although it's quite a contradiction, if this could be like a chicken and egg, how do you get well when you've still got poison in your mouth? But I'm trying my best to recover. I'm trying everything I possibly can. And I'll make a different video about that, to recover from chronic fatigue syndrome, so that he will actually let me remove the mercury fillings from my mouth. So he says you've got to be in good health, and that, to me, that's a sign of a good, healthy dentist. They're actually concerned about your health. They're not just going to go ahead and make you ill because they don't believe that, removing mercury can actually make you feel ill. So here's a tip that he told me. When you get your anaesthetic, because you've got to have fillings removed, you'll probably need to have some drilling done. It might, might cause you a little bit of pain if you don't have the anaesthetic in your mouth. So you need to have anaesthetic. But the last time I went to the dentist and I had anaesthetic, it didn't work. And the holistic dentist told me it was probably because I was taking vitamin C, and vitamin C can prevent anaesthetic from working. So before you go and have your amalgams removed, don't take vitamin C for the few days or even a few weeks before that. But then some holistic dentists will actually put you on a vitamin C drip afterwards, so they'll put massive amounts of vitamin C into your body. So make sure you're taking vitamin C afterwards to help your body to recover quickly from the mercury removals. So don't just take my word for it. Go and do your own education, read some of these books, because it is a serious thing, and once you start messing with it, you want to make sure you're doing this in a safe way. It's really, really important. So do some research, and then find a holistic dentist who does safe amalgam removals and get those removed safely. And then only when you've had your amalgams removed can you begin something called chelation protocols. And that means you remove any residual mercury from your body, and you need to wait about 3 months after you've had the mercury fillings removed. It's a book according to, I think it was Andy Cutler. So there's a couple of different protocols you can follow, but from the research that I did and that book, The Mercury Diaries, that I read, there's some unsafe ways to do chelation, and there's some safer, more gentle ways to do chelation. Because what chelation is it removes the mercury from, it detaches it from your organs or your brain, and then it's circulating around your body, and then you need to remove it out of your body. So there is unsafe ways to do this, and some chelation protocols involve giving you a massive amount of chelation, and then too much mercury goes into your system. Your body cannot remove it all, so it attaches to some of your organs or even back into your brain, and then that causes you more health problems. So you want to do it gently and safely, and that's why I like Andy Cutler's protocol, because that's what he does. He does it very gently, very safely over a long period of time. It might even take years, but at least you hopefully shouldn't have too much of a negative impact when you're actually doing the chelation itself. And there's various different things, chelation supplements you can take, but one of the ones that he recommends is ALA, which is the alpha lipoic acid, it stands for. And this does actually occur naturally in certain foods like leafy greens. So maybe if you're drinking a lot of green smoothies like me, you might your body might be better at detoxing, who knows, but you get a very small amount from foods, and when you take the supplements you get maybe 1,000 times or more amount of this ALA. So you can kind of buy that on Amazon, this ALA, and I'll include links to all this under the video for you, all of these resources for you, and you can start to take this ALA in a very tiny amounts, very small amounts of this supplement, and it gradually, what ALA does is it crosses the blood-brain barrier and it removes the mercury from your brain into your body, and then it grabs hold of it and detoxes it out of your body. So and Andy Cutler says it's not safe to do things like taking chlorella or cilantro, coriander, those kind of things in high amounts, because what this does is that all it does is it removes it from the part of the body that it's on, but it doesn't take it out of the body. So this is why you need something else like the ALA to get it out of the body. So that's good at removing it from the brain. So if you think you've got it in your brain, then that's a good way to do it. My naturopath hasn't done any tests yet because I've just been diagnosed with celiac disease. She says my markers are all over the place, and she's not convinced that I do have mercury poisoning, but there must have been some kind of root cause for all my problems. But I will do the tests. I'm going to do the tests, the hair mineral tests, and I will see if I do have mercury poisoning. But I wanted to share this, even if I don't, even if it's not something I end up doing, I wanted to share this video because I've learned so much and I thought it might help somebody. So yeah, the ALA, that's one way of doing it. And there is also a new product out there which I am probably going to try anyway, because it's really good at removing other heavy metals, because I think all of us have got lead poisoning from taps and all sorts of other heavy metals in our bodies, and we just encounter toxins on a daily basis from all sources under the sun. So it's good to have a detox protocol on a daily basis anyway. So obviously green smoothies are great for that, but there's other things you can do for a even greater detox effect. And there's this new product called Advanced Cellular Zeolite. It's ACZ for short, and that's a spray, and I'll link to that below as well. And that's got so many good reviews. Like, everybody's raving about how they had heavy metal in their tests, and then they started using this, and then the heavy metal was gone. So it does seem to be working well for a lot of people. So, and it supposedly you can still use this when you have amalgam fillings, because it only removes the toxins that are free flowing around your body. So I don't think it removes the mercury from your brain, but once it's like free flowing around your body, when any toxins are free flowing, it removes them and takes them out of the body in a very gentle way. So I'm probably going to buy some of that and start using that, and I'll let you know how that goes when I start doing that. And I'll probably start doing that because supposedly it doesn't pull the mercury from your fillings, which supposedly the ALA supplement can do. So that's why you need to remove your fillings, your silver fillings first. So that's what I plan to do. So it'll be a long stretch. I've got to recover my health. I've got to make an appointment to have my fillings removed, probably in 2 lots, because they don't like to remove them all in one go. I'll maybe have 2 and 2, or 2 and 3 removed at a time, and see how it affects my health. And then, a few months later, I'll start the detox, the ALA, and see how that goes. So it's a long process, but I think it's well worth it, because, I've got a long life ahead of me, hopefully, and I want to be healthy as I possibly can. I want to get these nasty toxins out of my body, and especially on a daily basis, because we keep taking in new toxins. And I want to recover my health. I don't want to have, chronic fatigue syndrome anymore. I don't want to keep having this in the future. I want to get rid of the root cause of my health problems. And if you want to do that, then maybe looking into mercury poisoning is an option for you. And you might want to check out some of the resources that I've left under this video, and see if do a bit of research and see what you want to do yourself, and if it's something you want to tackle. And if it is, let me know how it goes. And if you've already started on the process and you're further down the line than me, then leave a comment from me, let me know, and I can't wait to hear from you. So take care, and I'll see you soon.